Hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, playfastfootball.blogspot.com. It's that time of year right now where hopefully you are still game planning, trying to win playoff football games. Or unfortunately, if you're out of the playoffs like we are right now, you are kind of in your self-scouting mode, analyzing some things that you did during the season, offense, defense, special teams, things that you liked, things that you didn't like, things that work well, looking at the opponents that you have to play again next year and seeing how to kind of tweak your schemes a little bit for the opposing teams that you might have struggled with or the games that might have cost you a trip to the playoffs. For those that are still in it, just a shout out, Coach Hoekstra, Coach Braddock, good luck to those guys, local North Florida guys, friends of mine, still fortunate enough to be game planning and working in the second round of the playoffs, so good luck to those guys this week. What I want to talk about today is using tailback push motion, which is just a short, quick push motion by the tailback, getting him out towards the perimeter to create two receiver sets or three receiver sets, depending on the formation you are in, and how to build some simple plays off of that tailback push motion. I first saw it when DeMarco Murray was at Oklahoma. I started noticing that a lot of times, instead of leaving DeMarco Murray in protection, Oklahoma would push him out real quick pre-snap, and it was almost right before the snap, he would push flat laterally to the line of scrimmage with width out wide, and he would become an outlet in on a swing or a flare route. And then I really saw Noah Mazzone at Arizona State. I really saw him start to do some more things with it, where he kind of built it into his every down package, where they were using, I think he calls it tear motion or rocket laser, or he's got his end zone system, and that a lot of people subscribe to, and obviously he's had a lot of success now at Arizona State and UCLA. And we don't use the same terminology. I just use the style of motion that I saw from Oklahoma and Coach Mazzone, and now a whole bunch of teams do it. But we just use that style of motion to get our back out quickly to the perimeter to create two or three receiver sets and to get some width and some leverage on the defense. One of the reasons we use it is we think it creates immediate width and leverage on the defense, getting a guy out there real quickly. If you're aligned in a one receiver set, or like I have drawn up here, a twin set, and you quickly push a motion out of the backfield real pre-snap, almost right before you snap the ball, he kind of gets going full speed. You're creating some width, some perimeter, some numbers, some leverage on the defense that you can use to your advantage as an offense. We start in a two-back set. All right, it's the best personnel for our team right now. We have some pretty good running backs that we really like. So two-back, 20 personnel is the best grouping for us. So we start in a two-back set, which makes people defend two-back sets. We can run isolation plays. We can run power plays. We can run counter. We can run any standard two-back run we want out of this set. All right, and then it allows us to quickly push a guy out to get us into a one-back scenario. So the defense has to align to a two-back set, and then you quickly get into a one-back setting. When you're going to be an up-tempo team, if you're going to be a hurry-up, no-huddle up-tempo team, and you're going to try and play as fast as you possibly can, you're going to need plays built in where your quarterback has multiple options post-snap with the football. So that if you're trying to play very quickly and snap the ball every 15, 18, 17 seconds, whatever it may be, you're going to need some post-snap options for your quarterback. All right, so we're going to go through some of the things that we do and some of the things that we're going to be doing increasingly more with our personnel moving forward, because our backs are young and our quarterback is going to be more of an option style kid. So in the off season now, if you're like me and you're kind of analytical, over analytical, this time of year is almost as much fun as the season itself. Nothing replaces winning games and nothing replaces coaching on game night, but to me, the way that my brain functions in the off season, and I'm really analytical about everything we do, so this part of the year for me is really exciting to look at what we did, how can we do it better, what can we do with our personnel, and then you get into the off season of clinics and going on message boards and YouTube and different blog sites. There's a lot of great blog sites out there where guys do a tremendous job sharing football knowledge. So this time of year is really exciting. What I'd like to do today is hopefully just show you 5 real quick, simple relatively easy things and relatively generic things that a lot of people already do. This is not a video to say that, you know, we've recreated the wheel offensively with any of these things. It's just my version of showing you what you can do with the push motion. Very simply come up with 5 simple plays that you could run in an up-tempo, hurry-up package, however you wanted to do it. You know, just 5 real simple plays all off of that tailback push motion. Okay. First thing we're going to look at is just zone triple option with a key screen thrown in. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this back, all right, and for us, we are, you know, whatever your cadence is, if you're, you know, if you're down, set, hut, ready, set, go, blue 20, set, hut, whatever your cadence is, you're going to have a trigger right before the snap of the ball that's going to take this guy, and we use the backside motion guy, the backside tailback. You're going to take this guy and push him out in motion to where he's going to be full speed towards the flat, okay? And he's going to be lateral to the line of scrimmage. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about zone triple, okay? We have always been more of a veer team in the past. We are moving back towards inside zone because we ran a lot of outside zone or stretch this year, and we feel like in the future the inside zone and the outside zone schemes protect each other because of the footwork of the offensive line. So off of our veer stuff, it didn't really protect the outside zone because if we ran outside zone, our offensive linemen, you know, were stretch, crotch, bucket, hard outside, all right? And then when we ran veer, my tackle would be a down gap guy. And that solicits or initiates 2 different responses from a defender. So when we started to get a little bit better at the stretch, and we were also a sprint out team, anytime we got bucket or you know, stretch crotch steps here, that we had a lot of defensive linemen that were really starting to widen. So we felt like the inside zone could marry with the outside zone to where even though our steps aren't going to be as much stretch, as much bucket, we're still going to be zone front side, which will hopefully initiate a lot of that beat the reach response so that the inside zone can create running room inside, as opposed to the gap scheme where we went from stretch crotch bucket to down gap, and the 2 plays didn't really marry well for each other. So we're going back to more of an inside zone run scheme off of, you know, instead of the veer play that we've been using the last couple of years. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to run base inside zone. All right, so nothing new there. Scoop, the 3 technique, if you can get the 3 technique scoop, post and punch and hold. If you can, climb to the mic. All right, basically block the 1 wherever the 1 wants to go. Don't let him go backdoor across your face. In a zone scheme, if he did go backdoor, you may get help from your guard, but I like to try and not let him go backdoor. But we're basically going to let that 1 go. We're either going to run that 1 wide, or if we can get him reached, we're going to get him reached, and then that's going to be the read for the tailback. That first play side defensive lineman is going to read the read for the tailback where he can bang it up in there, bend it back, or bounce it outside. And then get the 5 technique here. This guard can either, depending on how heavy the 1 or the 2i is, he can either post it, punch it, help it, or he can straight climb to the will. Okay? Again, on the backside, you could cut the 3, you could double the 3 up, you could use a lot of different techniques that, you know, just on paper, we're talking about a simple generic zone theory where we're trying to get that to that, trying to get the tailback down, hips and shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, attacking that front side A gap. What the push motion now allows us to do, all right, is the push motion gives us that key 3 screen look or that triple option pitch look. Now, if we push him in motion fast and flat, we're going to have to throw him the bubble. We're not going to be able to pitch it to him like a triple option theory. So if we're going to use push motion and we're going to push him flat, hard, and fast, he's going to continue on to run the bubble out here. Your quarterback is now going to, all right, quarterback is going to have basically a give-keep read off the end, all right, and then he's going to have a give-throw, give-pitch read off of the force defender. All right, so now we can get up versus 2-eye structure. We can block the corner and the safety. We can leave the force player alone because we're going to get our normal give-keep read off the end. Then we're going to get our give-pitch or give-bubble read off the 8-plex player or the strong safety. So that's simple triple option zone football. If you're a spread team, 2-back team, probably have inside zone. We had it off of our veer plays. We called it key screens off of our inside veer. We had veer with key 1, key 2, key 3. This would be key 3 because he's becoming the 3rd receiver right here. All right, and then he's going to bubble out, so we just call it key 3.
all right, and we would be inside zone to the left, triple going back to the right. Okay, so that's very simple, flat push, fast motion, get them out. Just run your regular inside zone game up. All right, nothing really different, nothing new there. I don't think anything revolutionary or shocking. All right, just triple option football off of the inside zone play, which again, if you're a zone team, everybody's already doing those types of things to begin with. All right, so second play we're going to look at. All right, second play we're going to look at here is we're going to look at just going ahead and raising up and throwing the bubble. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to push him fast, hard, and flat here. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to block the down safety in the corner. All right, we're going to go make it look like play side zone here. So we're going to go with a right side full slide protection. All right, this back is going to give the zone footwork here. All right, and then he's going to go and seal, kick out, I'm sorry, not seal, the edge away. All right, and we're going to push flat, hard, motion here, and we're just going to raise up and throw that tailback flare. So it's predetermined. There's no read involved on this one. We are just going to take him, push him hard, flat, all right, grab the ball, quarterback flash fake, raise up, throw the bubble right now, get it out in space with a slot player blocking the force defender, corner working up inside. If they're a hard safety support team or a team that on that motion likes to trigger him down, you can always push crack this receiver with an off corner. You could push, see the support, safety comes down, crack him, leave the corner unblocked. Okay? But all you're doing is you're just throwing, very similar to a 3-by-1 theory, all you're doing is you're saying right now with this leverage, we've got 1, 2 that we can block. All right? We've got numbers. When we push him flat and fast, we feel like we've got numbers out here coming from a 2-back set. All right? Depending on how they react to the motion, we feel like we have grass numbers leverage in a typical spread theory, all right, where we can get the ball to our playmaker in space, getting it out wide. All right, successful play for us this year would be even more successful if you could cut the perimeter. Where we are in Florida, you can't cut the perimeter, so this block becomes very vital on an outside linebacker. A lot of times, depending on your personnel, that slot has a hard time with that block, okay? But if you can just get him blocked and the quarterback can put it on the front hand of the guy running the flare full speed, put it to him in space, get yourself an easy, quick throw. Very similar to the bubble screen theory. All it is grass, numbers, angles, leverage, put a guy in space, let your dude be better than their dude. That's all you're trying to do. All right, so that's just a quick and simple push motion tailback flare. All right, again, nothing new. Everybody's running that kind of style, that theory of football. If you're watching spread teams in college, or, you know, all we're trying to do is get some guys out in space and make their guys tackle our guys. All right? Now, the next thing we can do to kind of help with some of the movement that you're seeing, all right, and again, a lot of this will depend on game plan, and a lot of it will depend on the structure of defense the other team plays and what they do, but the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to run simple Y stick, old-fashioned Y stick, okay? We're going to take 1 and run them off vertical. We're going to take 2 and run 5-step hitch. We're going to push motion flat flare here, okay? We can go ahead and big on big the protection here and turn it back to the will. Let your tailback step up inside right here, all right? Tailback step up inside to take Mike, strong safety, or any blitzes that may come, so you can old-fashioned big on big, half slide, double read your back. All right, and now we're just going to go Y stick, and we're going to read the reaction of this to possibly that, okay? So now what we're saying is on that push motion, we've run the zone triple on the push. We've run the flare on the push. How are they handling it outside? All right, what's the rotation that they're handling it outside? Okay, now, one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, all right, I forgot to mention on the first 2 plays, but I will mention is on all of these plays, we usually involve some type of gift or win route on the backside here. So it's some type of fade to slant to hitch route, to where if we don't like the rotation or we don't like the numbers in the box, the quarterback always has the option to go back to the win, gift, all right, route on the outside. If you're in the Coach Mazzone system, he calls it a gift. All right, other systems or other up-tempo guys I've heard, all right, I'll call it a win route on the backside because you just want your best player to win accordingly based on the coverage in the easiest way or easiest fashion he can do it. All right, so we almost always have a access throw built in on the backside, especially when we are moving at an up-tempo, hurry-up, no-huddle pace where we want our quarterback to have a lot of options with the football. Okay, so we start pushing the motion out. This strong safety starts to widen with the push motion. All right, we go wide stick, and we say that the Mike isn't going to be able to get underneath the stick when the strong safety widens. Okay, so the strong safety on this push motion, strong safety starts to widen outside of 2, okay, and then eventually the Mike starts to push that way. Well, we're saying on that short, quick motion, if the strong safety is outside of 2, that's an easy wide stick throw for us. If the strong safety stays inside of 2, we can still throw the ball to the flare. If you were to get man-to-man quarters out here, and your guy beats their corner, you can throw the vertical. If you were to get 7 in the box, or if they were to spin, if you were to get kind of like a free safety rotation down and a rotation to 3, kind of like that on the motion, then your quarterback wants to go back there to the win route. So again, off the push motion, all we're doing is we're kind of determining how they handle the push motion when we get a guy out real quick, real fast, real close to the snap of the ball. How do they handle being out-leveraged by that guy? All right, do they make any adjustments? Some defenses don't make adjustments at all. They just sit there and play ball, and they just kick your teeth down your throat the whole time and say, hey, you're not better than us. Okay? Some defenses have to make adjustments by spinning or pushing guys. The most common one from a 2-high structure you're going to see is just a slight push where the outside linebacker down safety is a swing deep of 3 guy. So he kind of says, I can't let 2 cross my face, but I can't let 3 out-leverage me. So when 3 starts to push that motion flat, he kind of gets threatened and he widens. So what normally in a 2-high structure, we see strong safety bump, Mike linebacker bump. Okay? So that's one of the things that we see a little bit. So the stick play kind of helps us. If the strong safety gets outside of 2 on the motion, it gives us a chance for the quarterback to just kind of raise up. Strong safeties outside of 2, throw the stick. Strong safety inside of 2, push the bubble. Man-to-man on the outside, win the vert. Don't like anything on the front side or hard. Spin down from the free safety into a 3 deep. Win on the backside. So again, all right, your quarterback has to be very comfortable within the system. Your quarterback has to understand up-tempo football with access or wing throws on the backside. Got to understand movements in coverage, okay? So something that you've got to be able to teach and progress and get to, all right, to be able to say that these are all things that you want to do if you use push motion. But I don't think it's that difficult. It's just a matter of, what things do you want to get accomplished, okay? We only did 2 or 3 of these all season. We didn't do all 5 of them, all right? But all 5 of them are very simple to get accomplished, especially if you have returning players and a chance to kind of teach your scheme to those players, okay? So that's just simple, old-fashioned, air raid or run and shoot or, Hal Mummy and Dana Holgerson and Mike Lee, just old-fashioned Y stick. That's all it is, okay? Now the next one we're going to go to is off the triple look and off the flare and the stick look is we're going to go to, for simplistic terms, we're just going to go to what we call zone lock, okay? So what we're going to do is our front side, we're going to obviously push motion flat and wide first, okay? Our front side receivers are going to block as if this is tailback flare, so they're either going to do that or push crack that, okay? To the front side of the zone play is going to be run to the left. To the front side, we're going to zone it. To the back side, we're going to lock it, all right? And the tackle has number 2, and the guard has number 1, all right? It's a lot better against a 1 and a 5 backside, in my opinion, but you can do it versus 3 and a 5. The thing you have to understand is, all right, is your guard and your tackle are locked, all right, onto what you declare as number 2 and number 1 on the line of scrimmage. Okay, so if it was a 3 and a 5, we'd be locked on a 3 and a 5, okay? We're going to run zone, front side, and now the quarterback is going to second level read the Mike on the push motion, all right? If the Mike linebacker widens with the push motion, all right, because of the flare and the Y stick, if he starts to widen on the push motion, then we'll give the zone up inside to the tailback. If the Mike linebacker stays where he is, and we feel like there's no rotation of the secondary, the ball is going to go, so let's just look at it this way. 1 is the zone, 2 is the flare, 3 is the win. All right? So Mike linebacker leaves, we run the zone. Mike linebacker stays, we throw the flare. Mike linebacker stays, and they rotate secondary or coverage down and away. We go back to the wind side. We go back to the hitch, slant, fade, whatever you have built in. Okay? So again, coming off the zone triple flare, Y stick, push motion, now we're going to push and we're going to read what the defense would. Like I said on the stick, a lot of times is you'll get this guy trying to widen, Mike linebacker will try to widen, okay? And then you may get a little bit of either a bump in the box and a spin down. You may get this safety spun down there. It all depends on what their structure is. So when we get teams that like to bump with that motion, when we push, they push, we like to go back to zone lock and second level read the mic and go zone, all right, lock, lock, read the mic. If you know a lot of high school teams, you see like 3-3 stack stuff. All right, if you were seeing 3-3 stack stuff, all right, it would be, the zone lock would be here on, that would be number 2 on the line of scrimmage. Number 1, we would have to count either the nose or the mic as number 1, so we would then go zone, normal zone theories. All right, these 4 would execute a normal zone theory on these 4. That would be the push read. We would lock the end right there, okay, and we would play football from there. All right. If you were facing straight 3-4, you would have to determine based on game plan and film. All right, if you were playing straight odd, a lot of times when you're playing straight odd teams, they're going to bring a 4th rusher from somewhere. So you're looking to see where does that 4th rusher come from? How do they bring that 4th rusher? You know, what determines where that 4th rusher comes from? Is it the Sam? Is it the rush? The first way we would declare it without, without any real game planning, I would declare it by saying, I think the guy from the single's coming. So I would zone, I would lock this, I would zone to the will, I would zone the end and the rush on this side, and assume that to the twin side with the Sam walked off and a free safety behind him, that the rush is probably the guy that's coming if they have a safety behind him there. All right? Now, if you started to get, those 3-4 teams where they were slant and angle, and now you're getting into a deal where they're slant and angle and they're bringing him and they're pushing the front this way, and now they're dropping that rush off. Well, now you're locked here, okay, and you're going your normal zone rules. You were zoning up to this and zoning out to this. You're locked here. You're still reading this. The problem is you got edge pressure coming right now, all right? If you were to see that, your quarterback has to understand anything off the edge, he can just pull and go right now, because normally, if that's the structure in a 3-4, this free safety is going to spin down, this weak safety is going to spin to the middle, and you'll get 3 deep. So off of this pull right here, if you can get pull, kick to the bubble, and this guy doesn't peel, he keeps coming, you're locked on this. You were reading the mic as your second level read, but your quarterback understands in coverage, this guy comes off the edge, ball goes out to the perimeter right there. Okay, so again, you could do it to 3-3, you could do it to 3-4, you could do it to over, you can do it to any look you want to do it to. It's just a matter of game planning. Anytime I've said this on offensive and defensive videos and boards and conversations with people, the 3-4 will always, the true 3-4 will always be harder to scheme against. When you don't know where the 4th rusher is coming from, it's almost always going to be harder to scheme against than your standard over front. Okay, and anytime you go to clinics, and same thing when I do videos, most people are going to draw up simple over fronts, not only because we see more over, but on paper, it's usually easier to show somebody how to block something to over. When you draw up a 3-4 odd or okie front, that takes a lot of game planning and adjustments to understand, all right, where does the 4th rusher come from? Is it based on formation? Is it based on field and boundary? Is it based on, down and distance? And when you go in, you have to understand where that 4th rusher is coming from, and then you have to have a game plan for that 4th rusher. So, the 3-4 is something that takes a little bit more time than to just generically draw it up on the board. Now, in my experience playing the 3-4 and coaching against it, if I had twins open and they were going to bring a 4th, the 4th would normally come from the single side, and they would play the walked-off apex guy in coverage with the free safety behind him if they were too high. If that free safety started rolling down and the Sam came, then the backside guy would probably drop unless they were bringing 5-man pressure. If they were bringing 5-man pressure, then we would probably have to go back to the win routes on the backside. So again, it's all game planning. It's all knowing your opponent, studying your opponent. But the 3-4 always puts a wrinkle. Good 3-4 teams put more of a wrinkle into how you're game planning than odd stack or 4-2-5 or 4-3 teams. That's just my opinion. All right, the last one we're going to look at is slow screen. All right, on the slow screen, what we're going to do is we're going to push, flat motion him out. We're going to block the play as if we're running the flare play outside. All right, so our linemen are all going to step and protect their gap to the right. Tailback is going to come off the edge to protect his gap backside. We're going to take the X receiver, and he's going to crack the first body inside. All right, we use, this year on this play, we use the weak side tackle and guard. You could go standard center guard and leave your tackles on if you wanted to because it is a slow screen. We used, because of our screens this year, because we ran some sprint out screens, we used backside tackle guard to get out. And I'm not the biggest fan of that. It worked okay for us this year, but I don't like, sometimes this end can, if you're running screens, you want the ends to be pass rushers. So a lot of times if you leave your tackles on the ends, you can get them to initiate and continue to rush the passer. When you leave them alone, a lot of times they become a problem in the screen game. So what we did, because we run a lot of zone and a lot of zone kick and things, we gave them kind of a zone away look with the tailback coming full speed at this guy like he wanted to kick him. We tried to see if we could get this end to see that and wrong arm. All right? And if he would see that and wrong arm, then all we did was we just kind of pinned him, and then the tailback just ricocheted out for the slow screen. We took the tackle out to the sidewalk. We took the guard after punching the one. The guard came and ran the alley. So we had the tackle out here as a sidewalk player. All right, we had the guard running the alley, and then we had the crack block by the X as a wall player. So simple screen rules, sidewalk, alley, wall. All right, we set up and went fast push motion. All right, quarterback took a step. He looked at the bubble, and then he just reset his feet, gave himself time, depth, and he threw the screen, the slow screen, back to the tailback on this side here. The whole key was step down, see if you can get a wrong arm from that end. All right, if that end wrong arms, we just pin him inside. If that ends up the field, we kick him, and then we slip underneath. Tailback takes the easiest path for him. It's not necessarily path of least resistance. We've got to get that end to continue either rushing the quarterback or doing something. So if he tried a wrong arm, we pinned him and peeled out. If he came up the field to pass rush, we tried to kind of look like we were going to kick him, and then we got out. Quarterback looked the flare, backed up, give himself time away from the rush. Front side, we just kind of stayed on with this here. Eventually, these guys got smart enough to where they stayed on for a 2 count, and then they all tried to rally downfield as we got later in the season. But originally, it was just crack wall, tackle sidewalk, guard alley there, okay? And then again, off the fast motion look. All right, when you have teams that were starting to move, bump, or rotate down, it gave us numbers to the backside. All right, so if you are a 2-back team, especially if you're a zone option team or you're a spread team that throws the bubble, likes to get guys out in space, using tailback push motion is a real easy way to create leverage, numbers, grass, angles, all the things you want. It gets you from 2-back into almost an immediate trip set right away. All right, it's a great answer to zone pressure teams that are, that kind of struggle a little bit with trip sets. If you're getting, standard zone pressure from a team, one of the things that they don't really enjoy all the time is zone pressuring the trip sets because of where their 3-hole player is. And so if you are, if you're playing teams that are zone pressure, all right, and let's say you're going to get standard America's blitz, and you're going to get, this end dropping, and you're going to get this nose long sticking wide, this tackle long sticking, end long sticking, Mike, strong safety. Not exactly out of that over front. Probably would do it with the 1 and the 5 set that way. For argument's sake, I got it drawn up with the 3 and the 5 there, just showing you kind of how you could I don't think you would necessarily want all these long sticks as a defensive person. That's just my opinion, but just as a drawing to show you how you would do it. And then your will would be your 3-hole, all right? And then your free safety would come down here, and you'd have him as your seam curl flat, and this would be your 3-hole, and then your end over here would be seam curl, all right, flat, and then you'd have thirds, right? So when you get teams that like the zone pressure, when you push motion flat hard, all right, if nobody peels, if the outside blitzer doesn't peel, now you're taking advantage of your bubble player is running away from their 3-hole player. So you're creating a trip side real quick, all right, and you're getting them to zone pressure from the twin side, feeling okay to the twins because they have a 2-dropper or a seam curl flat player, a corner, all right, and then they've got a deep middle third guy. But now what's happening is you're taking a tailback and you're push motioning away from the 3-hole player, and now you're creating those numbers so that if you threw the flare, it's block, seam curl, flat, block, corner. Here's, all right, somebody catching the flare out there wide, as long as they don't peel that blitzer off. All right, so it's a great way to go from 2 back to 1 back. It's a great way to create leverage. It's a great way to have a very simplistic system of having plays where your quarterback can, off of the looks of the defense, your quarterback can come up in there and be able to say, hey, I like this, I like this, I like this. So a lot of the times you might be able to come out and just call the zone lock play, all right, and read the second level, and now you've got a zone play called inside. You've got bubble to the outside and a backside win route, so you come up on the ball, and what we like to call speed ball, and you come out and you just say, hey, all right, we're in spread right split, okay, we're in spread right split, or we're in, twins open split, or twins open brown, or twins open red, whatever you call your formation, and you signal in, we want to go twins open red, all right, zone lock, speed ball. So now your kids will get up, and they'll get into twins open red, and they'll run zone lock as many times as you want to run it until you kill the play. So you come up and you go zone lock, and you read off the mic, and the mic widens with the bubble, and you give the zone. Next time you come up, the mic stays right where he is, and you come out and you throw the bubble. Next time you come up, the safety rotates down, and you throw the win route backside. All right, you've got routes that are and options that are built in to be able to play at an extremely fast tempo. You could snap the ball. If they line up in the same spot and you run the same play, you could snap that ball every 13 to 15 seconds, no problem. All right, zone, flare, win route on the backside. That's the easiest way to play the fastest football possible and give yourself a chance to be successful. All right, but if you weren't playing fast and you just wanted plays that built off of each other, all right, zone triple, flare, Y stick, zone lock, slow screen, those are all plays that build off of push motion. And they're not the only plays. Those are just 5 simple plays. You can do as many things as you want in the passing game and the run game, especially the Q run game, involving that same push motion. All right, we're going from 2 back to 1 back, creating numbers, leverage, grass, angles, in an up-tempo theory, trying to get our athletes in space. As always, guys, I hope the video helps. Always remember, you won't play well till you play fast. See you next time.